Live from New Delhi, watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi en route to Maldives, the second leg of his two-nation visit. Trade deal, diplomatic reset on agenda. India and UK signed free trade agreement during Prime Minister Modi's visit to the country. Indian textile, gems and jewellery sectors to benefit, medical devices to get cheaper. Prime Minister Modi says outcomes of his UK visit will benefit the future generations and contribute to shared growth and prosperity, while Starmer calls it most significant deal since EU exit. Iran to hold nuke talks with European nations in Turkey today. Failure to resume negotiations would lead to international sanctions. Thailand and Cambodia conflict intensifies with fresh rocket strikes, at least 11 civilians killed. US calls for an immediate end to hostilities, UNSC to meet over the conflict. And Conaroo Humpy sets up historic All-Indian Women's World Cup final, will face 19-year-old Divya Deshmukh in the first ever Indian final showdown. And on to the details now. After concluding his successful UK visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is en route for Malé, the capital of the Maldives, as part of his two-nation tour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive in Maldives on a state visit to the archipelago. During his two-day state visit, Prime Minister will hold key talks with President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu, focusing on enhancing cooperation in areas including connectivity, climate resilience, economic development and maritime security. This will be Prime Minister's third visit to Maldives and the first visit by a head of the state or government of Maldives during the presidency of His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Muizzu. Prime Minister Modi will also attend the 60th anniversary of the independence of Maldives as a guest of honor. The visit promises to further solidify India's neighborhood-first policy and reinforce its role as a trusted development partner of the Maldives. And India and United Kingdom signed a trade deal on Thursday. Prime Minister Modi called it a historic day in India-UK relations. He said that Indian textiles, footwear, gems and jewellery, seafood and engineering goods will get better marketing access in the United Kingdom. The processed food industry will find new opportunities in the UK market too. For his part, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that the trade deal is the most significant agreement that the UK has made since leaving the EU. He said that the deal will bring huge benefits to both the countries. Gautam Roy reports for more.
In a landmark moment for India-UK relations, New Delhi and London have officially signed the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA. This historic accord ushers in a new era of strategic partnership, strengthening economic ties, streamlining trade processes and unlocking expansive investment opportunities across sectors.
यह समझौता मात्र आर्थिक साझेदारी नहीं, बल्कि साझा समृद्धि की योजना है। एक और भारतीय टेक्सटाइल, फुटवियर, जेम्स एंड ज्वेलरी, सी फूड और इंजीनियरिंग गुड्स को यूके में बेहतर मार्केट एक्सेस मिलेगा। भारत के एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस और प्रोसेस्ड फूड इंडस्ट्री के लिए यूके की मार्केट में नए अवसर बनेंगे।
Leaders from both sides hailed the agreement as a major milestone. They expressed confidence that CETA will create fresh avenues for trade and investment, drive economic growth, generate employment, and bring lasting benefits to both economies.
It's a deal that will bring huge benefits to both of our countries, boosting wages, raising living standards, and putting more money in the pockets of working people. It is good for jobs, it is good for business, cutting tariffs and making trade cheaper, quicker and easier.
The trade deal opens the doors of the UK's $37.5 billion agricultural market to Indian farmers, boosting exports of millets, jackfruit, herbs and more, while safeguarding sensitive sectors like dairy and apples. For India's MSMEs, it unlocks access to trade finance, intellectual property protections, and UK procurement channels. Indian seafood will now enter the UK's $5.4 billion marine market, duty-free, supporting 28 million livelihoods. Leather and footwear exports are expected to cross $900 million, benefiting manufacturing hubs in Kanpur and Tirupur. In a strong push for inclusivity, the deal includes gender-focused provisions, empowering women artisans and self-help groups with duty-free access and skilling support. Services too get a boost, gaining visa clarity and greater mobility. India's youth stand to benefit from new job opportunities in the UK, particularly in IT, finance and education. The two prime ministers also launched the UK-India Vision 2035, laying the roadmap for a future-ready strategic partnership. Using a cricket analogy, Prime Minister described the relationship as a high-scoring, solid partnership, a bond built on trust, shared values and mutual ambition.
For both of us, cricket is not just a game, but a passion. And also a great metaphor for our partnership. There may be a swing and a miss at times, but we always play with a straight bat. We are committed to building high-scoring, solid partnership.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called it the biggest trade deal signed by the UK since Brexit, a powerful statement of confidence in India's growing global role and economic potential.
This is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. Thank you, Prime Minister, for your leadership and for your pragmatism. And I'd like to thank everybody who's worked so hard to get this deal over the line.
Years in the making, this long-awaited pact marks a turning point in India-UK economic relations. With inputs from Gautam Roy in London, Bureau Report, DD India.
And earlier in London, in a gesture emblematic of the strengthening India-UK ties and shared ecological values, King Charles III hosted Prime Minister Modi at Sandringham House. The meeting underscored the enduring commitment to global climate action and cultural collaboration. Prime Minister Modi gifted King Charles a symbolic tree sapling as part of India's growing green movement called Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. The initiative encourages people to plant a tree in tribute to their mother. While sharing highlights of his visit on social media, Prime Minister Narendra Modi termed his UK visit very important. Prime Minister Modi said the outcomes of this visit will benefit the future generations of both the nations and contribute to shared growth and prosperity. Prime Minister Modi also expressed gratitude to his counterpart Keir Starmer, the UK government and the people for their warmth.
हमारे संबंधों में एक ऐतिहासिक दिवस है। मुझे प्रसन्नता है कि कई वर्षों की मेहनत के बाद आज दोनों देशों के बीच कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक एंड ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट संपन्न हुआ है।
This is the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. That it's one of the most comprehensive deals that India has ever done. So thank you, Prime Minister, for your leadership and for your pragmatism.
यह समझौता मात्र आर्थिक साझेदारी नहीं, बल्कि साझा समृद्धि की योजना है। इसे दोनों के सर्विस सेक्टर, विशेषकर टेक्नोलॉजी और फाइनेंस के उसको एक नई ऊर्जा मिलेगी, ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को गति मिलेगी, कॉस्ट ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस घटेगा और कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस बढ़ेगा। हम एक मत हैं कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई में दोहरे मापदंडों का कोई स्थान नहीं है। हम इस बात पर भी सहमत हैं कि एक्सट्रीमिस्ट विचारधारा वाली शक्तियों को डेमोक्रेटिक फ्रीडम का दुरुपयोग नहीं करने दिया जा सकता। Those who misuse democratic freedoms to undermine democracy itself must be held account. For both of us, cricket is not just a game, but a passion and also a great metaphor for our partnership. There may be a swing and a miss at times, but we always play with a straight bat. We are committed to building high-scoring, solid partnership.
Well, industry bodies in India have welcomed the UK free trade agreement. DD India's Yogesh Sheetal spoke with the President of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, Lalit Gandhi, to know the impact of the deal on India.
We have Lalit Gandhi, veteran industrialist and chairman of Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce Industries. Sir, welcome to DD India. Sir, how do you see the FTA between India?
This is a very significant and great achievement for Indian trade overall. This is a historical moment for India and Britain to sign this FTA today in presence of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and Minister of External Affairs S. Jaishankar and other dignitaries. This bilateral trade will grow about more than $25 billion, and it's very positive for Indian economy also. It will make cheaper our automobile sector, cars, even wine industry. It will boost multiple sectors for Indian trade and industry. And as it is a long-awaited FTA between India and UK, we did almost negotiation for 3.5 years. And I hope this will be implemented by mid-26 totally. And India will definitely gain in various sectors. Our industry markets will definitely give a positive impact of this free trade agreement, and this will also a landmark for other countries also.
Right, sir, and also since we have seen since the government under PM Modi get again charged, we have seen Make in India or one window system, ease of doing business, multiple steps have been taken, and definitely at this point in time when the FTA has been signed, it is going to be a big boost for India in terms of employment, in terms of business, and also in terms of job creation in total. With my colleague Kapil, I am Bishma for DD India from Mumbai.
And still to come in DD India News Hour. We'll talk to our reporter in Maldives about the upcoming visit of Prime Minister Modi and how it will reset diplomatic ties. Seaplanes soar as iconic experience for tourists in the Maldives. Indian footfall rises. Prime Minister Modi becomes the second longest consecutively serving Prime Minister in India's history, surpassing late Indira Gandhi's tenure by a day. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on. All eyes are on the Maldives as Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on a significant visit to the island nation, coinciding with its Independence Day celebrations. This visit is being seen as a major diplomatic engagement aimed at deepening the strong historical and strategic ties between India and the Maldives. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a two-day visit to the archipelago where he will be attending the Independence Day celebrations. Prime Minister Modi is to hold key talks with President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu, focusing on enhancing cooperation in areas including connectivity, climate resilience, economic development and maritime security.
Between our two countries, given the good relationship and the importance that is being attached by President Muizzu's administration in welcoming Mr. Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, to Maldives, there's a lot of expectation, and this visit, I'm sure, would be further consolidating the ties between our two countries. We have been having various exercises, including humanitarian assistance and disaster relief exercise, bilateral exercises. All these things are seen as part of the capacity building and training part of it, which is very well respected and very well appreciated by the Maldivians.
Prime Minister will also hand over the Bishma health cubes to the Maldives as a symbol of India's commitment to strengthening healthcare cooperation with its neighbours. These portable digital health units are expected to enhance medical access and diagnostics, especially in remote island communities. Commemorative stamp on the occasion of 60th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations will also be released. Prime Minister will also inaugurate projects during his visit. The visit will also include outreach to the Indian diaspora, who are looking forward to interacting with the Prime Minister and expressing their deep-rooted connection to India.
I'm very happy that I am in Maldives at a very right time, and I'm looking forward for this. And one of the proudest moments for us Indians is to see our flags, which are all over the Malay city now.
Well, seeing the Indian flag hoisted all over the Malay city, it's an emotion, truly. I mean, everybody is so excited, and the energy level suddenly has gone high. People are like, oh yes, our Prime Minister is coming. Thanks to the PM for giving us this time to actually interact with us, you know. Yeah. That's a big thing for us, to take out the time for the diaspora and meet us.
The entire diaspora is waiting with bated breath, I can tell you this much. Absolutely counting fingers, counting the dates on the calendar. And yes, the countdown has begun.
From boosting people-to-people ties to shaping the future of the Indian Ocean region, the visit carries both emotional and strategic weight. As Prime Minister Modi touches down in Malé, the visit promises to further solidify India's neighbourhood-first policy and reinforce its role as a trusted development partner of the Maldives.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Maldives visit for the Independence Day celebrations comes at a crucial time of regional cooperation. It is seen as a strong gesture of friendship, and it reaffirms both nations' commitment to deepening ties. With camera person Aniket Dubey and Kuldeep Sharma, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Malé, Maldives.
And medical facilities of Maldives will get the power of Bishma. Prime Minister Modi will gift 2 Bishma cubes to Maldives during his 2-day visit. Built under India's Arogya Maitri program, Bishma is a modular, self-sufficient healthcare unit meant to serve any place that lacks immediate medical infrastructure, regular primary healthcare, outreach, mass gathering, remote island clinics, as well as natural disaster or calamity sites.
Tell us about your station.
This is the basic operation room setup where we can do limb and life-saving surgeries, and we have all the equipments which are chargeable. This is a rechargeable solar power station through which we can have a connection to which all the equipments can be connected, the OT equipments.
So this is the X-ray station, X-ray, ultrasound as well as ECG can be done here. This is the OPD station and lab station where we are having a portable lab machine where we can carry out around 20 blood and biochemistry tests.
Here is all the stuff here. You have this shock station, you have the bleeding station, you have the chest injury you have the nebulization station, you have the burns station, and eye injury, fracture, minor injury, minor wound station. Everything is here. 2 mini hospitals are there ready to serve you, and this is all made in India, made for Maldives. With cameraman Aniket Dubey in Malé, this is Vishal Beristu for DD India.
Well, the Maldives' stunning seaplane journeys are not just a mode of transport, they become a key tourist attraction. And with Indian travellers now ranking as the third largest group of international visitors, demand for these aerial experiences is soaring. A bird's eye view of paradise, that's what thousands of tourists enjoy every day in the Maldives, thanks to its iconic seaplane services. These flights connect resort islands across the archipelago and have become a signature part of the Maldivian travel experience.
These islands are far from each other, and seaplane is the most convenient mode of connectivity, which can drop the tourists at the doorstep of the resort. And it is the fastest medium. And as a seaplane industry, more than 40% of the traffic in Maldives, which is more than 2 million tourists, are annually carried by seaplane. And out of that, our Trans-Maldivian Airways is the largest, which carries about 35% of the total traffic, inbound traffic of Maldives to the various resorts. So it's a very, very huge role the seaplane industry is playing in Maldives.
Well, Indian tourists now make up the third largest group of international arrivals, many eager to capture the magic from the skies. With growing demand, operators are expanding fleets and routes, making seaplanes a soaring success in the Maldives tourism story. And in a vibrant display of India's cultural heritage, children are set to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi by performing the traditional Chau dance from Bihar. The young performers, trained especially for this occasion, say they are proud to represent India's rich folk traditions on an international stage. Many of the children expressed excitement about being part of the cultural welcome for the Prime Minister. The performance is also a reflection of the strong people-to-people ties between India and the Maldives.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be visiting Maldives, and we are here at the Indian Cultural Center where we have the kids who will be performing for the Prime Minister's welcome. What are you going to be performing, and tell us about this particular dance.
We are going to be performing Chau dance. It's inspired by martial arts.
How excited are you that you'll be performing in front of our Prime Minister, giving a piece of tradition?
It's like a really golden opportunity for me and all, and I'm very happy about it.
She is happy. Rest of them are very excited for the Prime Minister. Do you have some message for our Prime Minister because it's usually seen once the performance is done, PM comes and speaks to the children?
First of all, we're really excited to meet him. That itself is a golden opportunity, and speaking to him is just out of the world. And a message, we love him so much. He is a wonderful Prime Minister, and yes.
Okay, all right. So these girls are definitely excited, and we'll also get a piece of tradition from seas apart, where people living here in Malé, in Maldives, will be presenting the Chau dance, which is a traditional dance of India, and the Prime Minister would be seeing it once he comes here. With camera person Aniket, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Malé, Maldives.
And DD India's Shama Mishra joins us from Maldives' capital, Malé, for more on Prime Minister's visit. Well, Shama, Prime Minister's visit to Malé is an emotion, as we heard the diaspora saying. It will mark a major turnaround in ties between the neighbours. Tell us, how is Prime Minister Modi's visit, upcoming visit, being received locally?
Well, Lipakshi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is finishing he just boarded, and he'll be here at around 9 a.m. In Malé after finishing his UK visit. So yes, it's an important visit over here. Once he comes at the airport, which is Villana Airport, he will be meeting the Indian diaspora over here. You've seen the Chau dance performers talking about how excited and how proud they are to perform for the welcome of Prime Minister Narendra Modi So at the airport, these students, these kids would be performing the traditional dance of India. After that, he'll be meeting the Indian diaspora who are here to welcome him. We are also learning that people, the students from the school of Maldives, of Malay, 50 students would be performing their Maldivian traditional dance with their instruments called Boru Bedu. They are also here to welcome the Prime Minister, and I was just speaking to these students. They are from grade 3 to grade 5. They are little kids and they are very excited to see Prime Minister Narendra Modi. From here, after finishing the meet with the Indian diaspora and also the Maldives diaspora, Prime Minister would be then moving to Kurumba Resort, which is another island, and he'll be taking the ferry to that island. From there, we are understanding he'll be moving to the Republic Square, where he would be meeting for several other meetings. A commemorative stamp is also being released on this occasion, where India and Maldives are celebrating their 60 years of diplomatic relationships. And Lipakshi, you know, this comes at a very fortunate time where Maldives is not just celebrating their 60 years of independence, but India and Maldives, they are also celebrating their 60 years of the relationship, of friendship, of trust. This comes also at a crucial juncture where, you know, the entire regional area, the entire world is looking at this particular visit, because this is important from the point of view of regional cooperation. And we also say that India has this neighborhood first policy. This visit particularly highlights that, enhances that particular commitment. It reaffirms the commitment of deepening ties. Both nations have come together, and you know, inviting somebody inviting the head of the state on their Independence Day celebration really signifies an important gesture. This is a bold gesture of friendship. So yes, Prime Minister would be tomorrow participating in the Independence Day celebrations of Maldives, and we are also understanding that the popular popular campaign where Prime Minister is urging everybody to plant a tree under the motto of Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. It will be done over here also. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be planting a sapling over here, and it will be Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. So we have met the Indian diaspora over here. We've also met the the business community over here. They are really excited. And Lipakshi, we have also done a story where India is building the greatest bridge, the longest bridge over here in Malay, and it is connecting 4 islands. We understand that Maldives is made up of more than 1,000 islands and 4 major islands, which is attracting tourism, which is attracting business, economic development. These 4 bridges are getting connected by India's construction. This is called the Greater Malay Connectivity Project, and it's a bridge which is 6.7 kilometers long. We understand that it's a very long bridge and it is under construction. It started in September 2021, and now it has been completed 60%. It will be handed over to the citizens of Malay and the citizens of these 3 islands in next year in September. So September 2026 is the month, is the date that they are eyeing. But yes, India and the Indian diaspora has a lot of contribution over here in Malay, because the diaspora is very vibrant. They have been contributing, and some of the people who we have been speaking with, they are here for 22 years, 14 years. So we can understand how important over here the people-to-people ties are. Right. So we are also waiting with bated breath, along with the students, along with the people of Maldives, to have a glimpse of our Prime Minister, who will be coming over here. At definitely, the Indian diaspora feels protected under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
All right, Shama. Indeed, a very important timing, indicating 60 years, marking the 60 years of mutual cooperation between both the countries. And with India unveiling health initiatives and infrastructure projects during this visit, as you mentioned also, how does this align with the broader goals of India's neighborhood first policy, especially in the Indian Ocean region?
When we are talking about the neighborhood policy, neighborhood first policy, India has been the first responders in many of the occasions, in many of the troubled times for Maldives and nearby areas and nearby countries as well. We were speaking to these people of the local people of Maldives, and we were also speaking to the High Commission about how India and Maldives friendship has turned out in these 60 years. The local people over here, they are extremely happy with the Indians over here. Many of them, they also know the Hindi language. They've learned Hindi language, and how they've learned it? They've learned it through Bollywood, the Indian cinema, which really binds these people. We are also understanding that at times of trouble, where there was a drinking water trouble, India rushed over here with the potable water. When there was a need, where there was a coup here, India really rushed, and the locals over here, they are really amazed at the fact that India comes over here within few hours, and that is something which is binding both the countries, because Maldives knows that India is really important for the progress, for the development of this country. And Dipakshi, while we are here at the airport, I'd like to ask my camera person to show you how I'll just show you the Prime Minister over here, Narendra Modi, and the President of Maldives, Mohamed Muizzu. The pictures of him, both of the leaders, are displayed over here, and even at the airport, the Maldives and everything written about the friendship is made over here. This is the airport where we are standing, and over here, just at the left-hand side of mine, the Indian performers or the Indian students, Indian diaspora will be standing here over here along with the Maldivian people, and yes, everybody is ready to welcome the Indian Prime Minister.
All right, Shyama, an important day ahead indeed. We'll keep taking more updates from you throughout the day. Thank you so much for all that information. And moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has surpassed former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to become the second longest serving Prime Minister of India in consecutive terms. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi marks 4,078 consecutive days in office on July 25th, 2025, he also holds several historic distinctions. Prime Minister Modi is the first and only Prime Minister born after independence, the longest-serving non-Congress Prime Minister and the longest-serving Prime Minister from a non-Hindi-speaking state. As an elected head of a government in a state and at the centre, Narendra Modi already enjoys the longest stint. He became Gujarat Chief Minister in 2001 and remained in the office before taking over as Prime Minister in 2014. Known for his grassroots connect and strong communication style, Prime Minister Modi served as Gujarat's Chief Minister for over a decade before leading the BJP to a historic national victory in 2014. Since then, he has positioned himself as a key global leader, projecting India as a confident, assertive voice on the world stage. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Israel and US recalled allegations from Gaza ceasefire talks amid accusations against Hamas. UK and Australia hold strategic talks in Sydney to advance AUKUS submarine deal and boost defence ties. And Deputy US Attorney General meets Maxwell in prison. Lawyer calls it very productive.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kuran, and moving on, Iran is ready to engage in talks with the United States on its nuclear program, but only if Washington takes meaningful steps to rebuild trust. Iran is set to meet on Friday in Istanbul with Britain, France and Germany, known as the E3 nations, and the European Union's Deputy Foreign Policy Commissioner. Friday's talks will be held at the deputy ministerial level. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Garibabadi said that to enter negotiations, Iran sought several key principles to be upheld. Iranian officials have warned that a move to reimpose sanctions would have consequences. Garibabadi said earlier this week that it could force Tehran to withdraw from key non-proliferation agreements. This will be the first talk since Iran's 12-day conflict with Israel in June, which involved US B-52 bombers striking nuclear facilities in Iran. A similar meeting was held in Istanbul in May. As we told you, Iran is ready to engage in talks with the United States on its nuclear program, but only if Washington takes meaningful steps to rebuild trust. In fact, Iran is all set to meet today in Istanbul with the powerful E3, that is Britain, France and Germany, and the European Union's Deputy Foreign Policy Commissioner also. And for more, we have Akshay Dongre joining us on this. Well, Akshay, from a strategic standpoint, how credible is Iran's willingness to negotiate? And do you think the call for meaningful steps by the US is a diplomatic condition? Or it can be also called a deliberate stalling tactic?
Because this remains a very, very sensitive topic, especially given the fact the history has been tarnished again and again by conflicts, by tensions between Iran and the US, and in most recent incidents we have seen that it was almost at the brink of full-blown war over the ambitions that Iran has of nuclear enrichment as far as the nuclear fuel is concerned. So while Iran is consistently saying that now it doesn't want to have a nuclear program, it just wants to have, enrichment of uranium-235 or other elements that it requires for clean energy, nuclear energy, and it's not for any kind of weapons of mass destruction. But there it comes. Israel again remains skeptical. Israel says that any kind of technology, if it goes into the Iranian hands of nuclear nature, then in some manner, today or tomorrow, in a couple of years perhaps, it is going to be turned into a nuclear weapon, and that Israel just is not willing to listen to or negotiate. So it depends now how much US is going to listen to both the parties involved here. Because despite having its tensions with Iran, the Donald Trump administration has been saying that if Iran abandons its nuclear program, then it can have trade, it can have better relations, and also have its sanctions lifted off. So that is a lucrative offer to Iranian regime, given the fact that the regime has in fact economically faced a lot of losses because of the sanctions and because of the nuclear ambitions. And it's one thing that's to have a nuclear weapon, but in an economy like Pakistan, for example, even if you have nuclear weapon, you cannot achieve much when it comes to world stage.
Right.
And Iran has a good economy, it has a rich history, it has a rich culture, it has a lot of influence in the region at least, and neighboring regions too. While Iran now goes and talks to the E3 nations, the kind of things that it is going to settle down for and the concession Iran is ready to make will depend on the next step as far as the talks with the US is concerned. Back to you, Bakshi.
Right, Akshay. Also, given the recent warnings by the E3 that failure to resume negotiations could lead to renewed international sanctions, how is Iran likely to interpret or respond to this pressure, and could it push Tehran further away from the table?
Well, there were always indications that E3 nations, though they are acting now more in favor of negotiation over conflict when it comes to Iran and Israel, and now discussions are going to take place about the future of nuclear projects of Iran, nuclear ambitions of Iran. But now it is also important to note that there are certain steps that have been taken. The European countries, especially given the fact that they also have to keep into account the sentiments of their allies such as the US and even Israel. They will have to make certain statements, but as of now, if these talks go well, we can expect further discussions with other partners as well. But in case the talks do not end up well, then we can see Iran drifting more towards Russia, China, and other countries that are not always very friendly with the US and the European allies. So we can expect another kind of bloc forming, involving countries such as Russia, Iran, China, and other regional allies against the European Union and the US combined.
All right. Thank you so much, Akshay, for all that information. And moving on, more updates from West Asia now. Israel and the United States recalled their delegations from the Gaza ceasefire talks for consultations on Thursday. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff blamed Hamas for failing to reach a deal. In a social media post, Witkoff said mediators had made a great effort, but Hamas does not appear to be coordinated or acting in good faith. He further added that U.S. will consider alternative options to bring the hostages home and try to create a more stable environment for the people of Gaza. Also, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his government was still seeking a ceasefire despite recalling its negotiators from Doha, accusing Hamas of blocking an agreement. The withdrawal marked the latest setback in efforts to secure a deal that would bring a ceasefire to Gaza and secure the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. And Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he would hold an emergency call on Friday with France and Germany on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. In a strongly worded statement late on Thursday, UK Prime Minister Starmer said he would discuss with European partners what can be done urgently to provide humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. He also called on Israel to allow aid into the Gaza enclave. Starmer said he supported the US, Qatari and Egyptian efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Israel, which cut off all supplies to Gaza from the start of March and reopened the flow with new restrictions in May, says it is committed to allowing aid in but must control it to prevent it from being diverted by Hamas. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron said on Thursday that France will recognize a Palestinian state in September at the United Nations General Assembly, adding that he hoped it would help bring peace to the region. Macron published a letter sent to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas confirming France's intention to become the first major Western power to recognize a Palestinian state. France will become the first major Western country to recognize a Palestinian state, potentially giving greater momentum to a movement so far dominated by smaller nations that are generally more critical of Israel. The decision is likely to spark anger in Israel and Washington. In a diplomatic table in June, the United States said it opposed any steps that would unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. And Thailand deployed an F-16 fighter jet to attack Cambodian military positions on Thursday, following artillery exchanges between the two Southeast Asian neighbors that left at least 12 dead, marking a rare armed conflict over disputed border areas. Thailand also reported 31 injuries across 3 provinces, while Cambodian casualties remained unclear. Cambodia's government spokesperson accused Thailand's army of attacking 8 locations with heavy weaponry and airstrikes during a Thursday news conference. Thailand's military said the use of air power was to strike with precision, while Cambodia's foreign ministry described Thailand's measures as reckless and brutal military aggression. The UN Security Council will address the conflict on Friday. Tensions have risen since a Cambodian soldier's death in May, prompting troop build-ups and a diplomatic crisis that nearly collapsed Thailand's fragile coalition government. Thailand's acting Prime Minister Phumtham Vechayachai emphasized Thailand's commitment to peace, but said the country had to respond to provocation in self-defense.
នៅថ្ងៃនេះការបើកការវាយប្រហារមានចំនួន8ទីតាំងទីតាំងទី1ប្រាសាទតំបន់ធំទីតាំងទី2ប្រាសាទតាកបីទីតាំងទី3តំបន់ភ្នំទ្រាប់ទីតាំងទី4វាលន្ត្រីទី5តាថាវទី6ភ្នំខ្មោចទី7អានសេះអូកាស្នេហ៍និងទី8តំបន់មុំបីនៅក្នុងនោះផងដែរក្រោយការបើកការវាយប្រហារយ៉ាងសន្ធាប់ នៅក្នុងទីតាំងមួយចំនួនរហូតដល់ការប្រើអាវុធធុនធ្ងន់និងឈានដល់ការប្រើនៅយន្តហោះចម្បាំង F-16 ទម្លាក់គ្រាប់នៅក្នុងតំបន់នៃខេត្តព្រះវិហារយ៉ាងគំហុកគឺនៅក្នុងតំបន់ចំការចេកប៉ុន្តែអ្វីដែលយើងអាចបញ្ជាក់បាននៅពេលនេះគឺកងកម្លាំងប្រដាប់អាវុធកម្ពុជានៅឈរយ៉ាងរឹងមាំនិងច្បាស់លាស់និងរក្សា 100% នៅក្នុងការការពារដែនអធិបតេយ្យភាពកម្ពុជាដោយមិនរួញរានិងមិនខ្លាចអំពើឈ្លានពានរបស់ភាគីថៃទេ
Well, Thailand and Cambodia have bickered for decades over jurisdiction of various undemarcated points along the 817 kilometers land border with ownership of the ancient Hindu temples Tha Muan Thom and the 11th century Prihavihar central to the disputes. Prihavihar was awarded to Cambodia by the International Court of Justice in 1962, but tension escalated in 2008 after Cambodia attempted to list it as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, leading to years of clashes and at least a dozen deaths. Meanwhile, the United States called for an immediate end to the hostilities, protection of civilians and a peaceful resolution of the conflict.
Concerned by the escalating violence along the Thailand-Cambodia border and deeply saddened by reports of harm to civilians. The United States urges an immediate cessation of hostilities, protection of civilians, and a peaceful resolution of the conflict.
Well, moving on, a top U.S. Justice Department official spent hours on Thursday grilling Ghislaine Maxwell, the imprisoned accomplice of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, as President Donald Trump struggles to tamp down a furor over his handling of the explosive case. David Marcus, Maxwell's attorney, said he was not going to comment on the substance of the meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Trump's former personal lawyer, for his hush money trial in 2 federal criminal cases. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence after being convicted in 2021 of recruiting underage girls for Epstein, who died in a New York jail in 2019 while awaiting trial in his own sex trafficking case. And in Indonesia, vibrant strokes of colours are bringing stories from India and the Southeast Asia region. The Art Diversity 2025 event in the city of Cikarang is celebrating creativity, connection and shared heritage. This exhibition and art fair is a result of a collaboration between India and Indonesia. The mission is to bring India and the Southeast Asian countries closer using art as a medium.
Hopes, lot of expectations, because this is first of its kind, entirely private initiative. So I hope that, governments also come forward and, support this. But, this should result into a movement.
All right, time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Now. Lepak Shikuran, and on to some business news now. US President Donald Trump said on Thursday it is not necessary to fire Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell and that such a step would mark a big move. Trump has repeatedly demanded that Fed Chair Jerome Powell slash US interest rates and has frequently raised the possibility of firing him, though Trump said on Thursday he would not make that move.
There's no pressure. No. We want to have, his term comes up soon. I think he's going to do the right thing. Everybody knows what the right thing is. Even people that believed in, the higher rates, they're all on board. They all want to see the interest rates come down.
In fact, Trump visited the site of a $2.5 billion renovation of two buildings at the Fed's headquarters in Washington. Trump and Powell sparred face-to-face over the cost of renovations of the central bank's Washington headquarters, with the Fed leader saying the president was wrong about the cost of the overall. The White House has criticized the renovation as overly costly, escalating tensions between the administration and the independent overseer of the nation's monetary policy. And the federal government of Canada announced that it is imposing new 25% tariffs on a broad range of imports from the United States with immediate effect. The sweeping measures covers nearly $30 billion worth of U.S. goods, including steel and aluminium products, and marks a significant escalation in the ongoing trade standoff between Ottawa and Washington. DT India's Tarun Singh gets us more on this report.
25% surtax will hit a wide spectrum of American exports, crucially targets US steels and aluminium entering Canada, the very metals at the heart of this dispute. But the list doesn't stop there. It spans dozens of other categories, from industrial materials to everyday consumer products. Canadians can expect higher prices on items ranging from orange juice and peanut butter to wine, beer, appliances, and even motorcycles, all of which are among the US goods now facing tariffs. In short, the tariff list touches everything from raw material to food and household items, underscoring how broad the retaliatory measures are. Canadian officials are characterizing these tariffs as direct countermeasure to US trade actions. According to a government statement, the 25% duties will remain in place until the US eliminates its tariffs against Canadian steels and aluminium products, a clear reference to the American levies that sparked this retaliation. Ottawa insists that it has little choice but to respond in kind to order defend Canadian industries and jobs. Prime Minister Mark Carney has argued that the Washington moves left Canada no option but to stand up for our national economic interest. Action by Canada comes on the heel of a series of aggressive US trade measures that have upended the normal Canada-US trading relationship. Since his return to office in January, US President Donald Trump has steadily raised barriers against Canadian imports. In early February, Trump imposed 25% tariff on most goods from Canada under a national security pretext tied to drug and border concerns. He then retashed up pressure further. In June, he doubled US imports duties on steel and aluminium to 50%, a move that struck directly at Canadian metal and exporters. And just weeks ago, the White House warned of even broader measures. Trump announced plans to slap a 35% tariff on all Canadian imports by August 1 if his demands weren't met. These US actions, unprecedented against American closest ally, set the stage to the retaliation we are now seeing from Ottawa. Canada officials note that the Washington tariff violates the spirit of the USMCA Free Trade Pact and were introduced to pressure Canada on issues like fentanyl trafficking, like Ottawa calls a false excuse. For now, however, neither side is blinking. The Canadian government's stance is that it will maintain this counter tariff dollar for dollar until Washington reverse course, and President Trump, known for his handling trade position, appears prepared to continue the confrontation, believing it gives him leverage. The result is that the Canada-US trade relationship has entered uncharted territory. From Canada, this is Tarun Singh.
Well, the International Monetary Fund has announced a deal with the Argentine government as part of the first review of a $20 billion loan program, paving the way for a $2 billion disbursement. This second loan tranche is still subject to approval by the IMF Executive Board, which is due to meet by the end of the month. It would bring the total amount available to Argentina under the program announced in April to around $14 billion. It highlighted an exchange rate managed at expected levels and an easing of inflation, which reached 39.4% year-on-year at the end of June, compared with 117.8% at the end of 2024. IMF also cited Argentina's return to international financial markets after Moody's upgraded its rating earlier this month. The IMF loan was part of a $42 billion bailout that also included funding from the World Bank and the Inter-American Development Bank. And business bodies in India welcome the India-UK Free Trade Agreement, calling it a transformational step in bilateral economic ties. The FTA aims to boost trade, innovation and investment. Industry leaders view Free Trade Agreement as a crucial step in deepening cooperation in key areas.
India FTA is signed in presence of the two Honourable Prime Ministers. The comprehensive economic trade agreement is going to double the trade between the two countries by 2030 to the tune of $120 billion. Services sector is going to immensely benefit out of this trade agreement.
I think it's absolutely wonderful news, and I congratulate my dear friend Mr. Piyush Goyal, the Honourable Commerce Minister, for all the hard work that he's put in under the guidance and leadership, of course, of our wonderful Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi. I think the deal is a massive game changer for both the countries and will benefit both the UK and India tremendously.
The exports from India to UK were at 1,000 crore rupees in 2024, up from 900 crore rupees by 13%. And our imports in 2024 were about 2,300 crore rupees, up from 1,700 crore rupees, that is a steep 36%. The top exports to UK were contact lens, reagents, surgical instrumentation and PPE kits. Our major imports are oxygen therapy equipment, X-ray equipment, analyzers and diagnostic reagents.
The India-UK FTA is a path-breaking deal, and it has made the template for future FTA deals. It has done a lot of groundwork and also involves not only the goods sector but the services sector.
You're watching DD India News. Our time now for some sports news. In a historic moment for Indian chess, Konadu Humpy is set to face Divya Deshmukh in the final of the FIDE Women's Chess World Cup in Georgia. The clash marks a significant milestone, with two Indian players reaching the final of one of the most prestigious global tournaments in women's chess. Humpy is a veteran and former world rapid champion, while Divya, a rising star, continues an impressive run on the global stage. The final not only highlights India's growing dominance in women's chess, but also showcases the strength of its next generation of talent. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Kurana from Al Fasair in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.